How you doing? How's your afternoon going so far? It's about 12:47 here in California. And last night Boris sent me this video and I watched it last night and I was like, "You know what? We got to we got to share this video and we got to kind of dissect the video." And actually this guy's already dissecting the video. We're going to dissect it a little bit more, right? We're going to talk about this together live so we can figure out what's going on. And if you're not live, then why don't you write down in the comment section, what your thoughts are on this video. It's gonna be pretty interesting. So let's get over to it. Now, this guy, he is called the Body Language Guy, is what his name is on the internet. It's Doctor something Enrique. We'll find out in a second. He'll put his name up there. If you want to watch the original video, I put the link down in the description below. So check it out. But let's get started with it and let's see what you guys think about it. This guy is very intelligent, and I like what he
released
says.
the 11-hour camera
Dr.
footage of the
Jesus
Special
Enrique
Housing
Rosas.
Unit, or SHU, where Jeffrey Epstein was being held the night that he offed himself. And we already have a lot of questions, and I will answer every single one of them in this analysis. Questions such as, there were people who went in the SHU but never left, or what is exactly the angle that we are looking at in this video? Not to mention that strange hooded figure that concealed their identity. I don't know if I he or a she.
So Boris mentioned this last night. Boris, when he sent it to me, he's like, I don't think that the SHU, where you have somebody like Epstein and somebody as huge as this in that little area, is gonna walk through this area allowed to be walked through with a hoodie. I mean, you can wear the hoodie, but I don't think they're gonna let you have your hooded overhead on there. And in general, I don't think you can walk through with a hoodie anyways. Think about this. So if you've never been to a jail before, I have. I'm not gonna lie, I've been to jails before. I've also been on jail tours with the police academy, Citizens Police Academy before. And you have to wear a uniform for a reason. So you can be, they know exactly who you are. And also, so you can't hide stuff. A big hoodie like that, you can hide a lot of stuff in there. So that's another thing. I remember, so I had a lot of friends who worked at Chowchilla Prison, and I was a retired plumber. And my buddy was like, "Hey, Eddie, I know you're disabled and stuff, but we're always looking for plumbers out here. Why don't you come out and apply? Because you don't even do the work. The inmates do all the work. So all you got to do is just show up. And so they won't mind if you're disabled." So I went out there one day and I showed up, and my buddy Harold was like, "Whoa, Eddie, what are you doing?" And I was like, "What are you talking about? You can't wear blue jeans out here." I was like, "I can't." So at this prison, the inmates wear blue jeans. So you're not allowed to wear blue jeans. And I have my Carhartts on. So I was like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't know that. Sorry." So he's like, "Just wait in your car. I'll go get the application for you and bring it out." And I mean, that's how strict they are on the clothing that you have to wear. So this is going to be interesting. I don't see how anybody would allow to be going into a prison or a jail. I forget if this is a jail or a prison, wearing a hoodie, and not just wearing a hoodie, but covering your head. So let's see what's going on.
And then got out of the SHU. Strange. Or perhaps one of the most disturbing questions of all. Why is there a full minute missing from the footage that Dan Bongino, Kash Patel, and Pam Bondi said was...
So they're saying this footage is missing because, well, this system, every single day, it's an old system, so it cuts out 1 minute of footage. Now, we can think about this 3 or 4 different ways, right? 3 or 4 different ways we can think about this. So number one, it is an old system and it does this. But if that's true, how many people know about that the system cuts off for 1 minute every single night? And if you know about this, 1 minute is plenty of time to get in there, and do what you got to do and get out of there. The second option is, well, it doesn't really do that. They're lying to us. And somebody cut out, and it's actually 1 minute and 2 seconds. So somebody cut out 1 minute and 2 seconds so they could get in there and get out of there. And then the third possibility is, oh, it's all just a coincidence. All right, let's just, there's that possibility too. I've been taught lately and recently and learned that, you got to throw out all the options out there and throw out the ones that are the least likely. The coincidence ones probably so far is the least likely. But let's keep going on with this.
It's going to be raw and unedited. Hello, welcome back, my Body Language buddies. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the Body Language guy. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you don't miss any of my body language analysis and
by the way,
tips.
The link to this video is down in the description.
First of all, remember that more than 1 month ago, Dan Bongino had already stated that they were going to release the video after.
Oops, I want to make this in the full screen, guys.
Some cleanup.
It was only one camera. There's video that when you look at the video, and we will release, that's what's taken a while on this. We are working on cleaning it up to make sure you have an enhanced, and we're going to give the original so you don't think there were any shenanigans. You're going to see there's no.
What's up, Terry? Maybe they offed him for he'd left during that 1 minute knowing the cameras were off. That's what I'm thinking.
One there, but him.
Yeah, I don't know why it took so long to clean up a video that is going to show nothing, right? And when I say nothing, I will remind you that Kash Patel has said not once but twice that Epstein indeed killed himself.
But there is a lot of conspiracy theories out there.
There are.
The Epstein thing, you dealt with Maria, you said, as far as you know, he killed himself.
I'm telling you, he killed himself.
Sorry, we got commercials. I don't want to pay you.
This is the Omen, a classic slip-on shop boot loaded with modern comfort.
We can skip it.
So we're already off to a rough start here. And by the way, didn't they say that the cameras pointed at Jeffrey Epstein's jail cell didn't work? And that is the first question that I will clarify for you right now to understand.
So here, and that's another thing too. The actual video from Jeffrey Epstein that was pointing right at his room. Oh, it didn't record. Oh, it didn't. Now that's two things that might be a coincidence. And, one coincidence, but two, no freaking way.
The angle of the footage that the Department of Justice and the FBI released, that we need to get our bearings about what is the layout of the special housing unit and Epstein's cell block. So the best way to do this is to look at the map, so to speak, of how it's organized, how the shoe is organized, and it's about 6 cell blocks that are organized in pairs, one on top, one on the bottom, as you can see them. You can see one of the cell blocks here, a second one, and the third one, and the other part of the map. This is, for the staircases, the elevators, the part of the, let's say the reception to that special floor, that particular floor of the shoe. And in this cell block, on the one on top, you got Epstein's cell. You see it here on red. And this space in yellow will be like the mini hallway of that cell block.
This is very important to watch right here.
The cells themselves. I'm going to show you this picture that will be really illustrative of this. Remember the space, the yellow space in here. If you stand in front of the cell block, this is what you're going to see right in front of you. I'm going to make sure that you look at everything so you understand where are we sitting. First of all, first thing that we were talking about, a broken camera, a camera that didn't work. Well, there's one camera at the end of every cell block. And it turns out that camera is right here at the end, but that camera didn't work. How convenient, right? But well, that doesn't matter.
Yeah,
so we know that the footage released by the DOJ is not the one from that camera.
Okay, Eddie, if memory serves me right, I believe the power went out at this jail near around the time that the suicide happened. I honestly don't remember much about that, Terry. I'm not 100% sure. You could be right. You could very well be right. I don't know, but we'll find out. But it's just too much of a coincidence that this video camera went out right then and there. Now this is a jail, right? And they have people to fix stuff instantly. So the workers, you would think, would have possibly noticed this and said, "Hey, you know what? We need a technician to come up here and fix it. And now this guy goes into a lot of detail. It's a little slow sometimes, but he makes good points on everything. So we need to really watch it.
But because that camera did not work. We see a bunch of doors here. It's important to make a distinction between the doors of the jail cells themselves and the utility and crawl space doors. If you see, for example, this door, the 219, you see that there's a window, right, where you can see inside and the inmate can look outside as well. You got this slot to handcuff people
Or put food
safely.
in, I think.
And you also have a slot in case that you have to handcuff them in the feet as well. You also have some of them who only have slots for handcuffing the hands. And you also have these doors, which are pretty much nondescript, like they have nothing. They have like this one. Oh, how interesting. These are the utility or crawl space doors. This one, like here, I marked this in white. You see that there are two jail cell doors, and there's one utility door in the middle. Why? What are these utility doors for? And this is important. These utility doors are because if you need to fix the plumbing or the electricity, or this is important, the ventilation of any of the cells, you want to be able to do that without having to open the cell and having to get the inmate out. You can then just go through the utility and crawl space door, and you have access to electricity, plumbing, ventilation system, everything of both of those cells. And you see that there's one utility crawl space door every 2 cells. Very practical. That is part of the design. So now you have a very good idea of what was like Jeffrey Epstein's cell block. One thing is that...
So this thing is, it's pretty interesting. We have all these doors here, right? And like you said, these are utility door, a utility door, utility door, and there's going to be a utility door right here. But what's weird is Epstein's cell number 220 is not on the screen. And by the way, this gentleman, he speaks really good English, but I'm guessing English is his second language. And so he's going to say door 2020 a couple times. And don't get him wrong, he means door 220. It's just, I think the language is kind of what's going on. Harry Ann thinks that he's still alive. Interesting. That's very interesting. I don't know. It's a possibility. People still think Elvis are alive, Tupac, all kinds of famous people. I mean, Richie Valens could be alive somewhere. You never know. Maybe he was dealing with the Mexican mob or something like that and wanted to get out of the way. But it's just very interesting. And once again, I'm stopping every so often to talk so we don't get copyright trouble for sharing this video. But I do want to give credit to this guy, the Jesus Enrique Rosas show. The link is in the description once again, guys.
This is taken straight from the document that the FBI released on the investigation of Jeffrey Epstein killing himself. And by the way, Epstein's cell is in 2020 and it's off screen. It was maybe cropped in purpose, but that's why you see here 219. There would be another utility door and then Epstein's cell block. But this is enough to understand where are we sitting. Now you can see this. This is Epstein's cell, though. Here's where we were standing. And this is from the floor. This is like the ground floor where, the guards, the officers could see the entrance to every single group or couple of cell blocks. And right from there, you can see that if you are in that ground floor, you are looking at Jeffrey Epstein's cell block, which was on top and was the L tier. Right there, you see that was Jeffrey Epstein's cell block. It's a bit hard to spot,
but
this is also important. There's a gate here. You see that there's this bars, this gate that is open right now. There's a gate to access the cell block after the staircase that goes up.
Okay, so what he's talking about right here, watch this. See these black lines? These are actually the handles, right? The hand, for walking up and stuff. We're going to need to remember that in a minute. And yes, Cree Dog, you're exactly 100% right. They just destroyed the crowd. I don't know what to believe anymore. There's in one day, all of a sudden, there's no Epstein files. And at the same time, now President Trump wants to send more weapons to the Ukraine. Two things that have become opposite of what we were expecting, what we were told we were going to get. I don't know who the heck to believe anymore. Something's fishy. Now, I hope what it is, this is just my hope. I don't know if this is right or not, but I hope that, they said world leaders are in there. I'm kind of hoping maybe Putin's on the list. And we're trying to get the war in Ukraine to stop. And maybe that's why they're not bringing it out. That's something that could be a logical thought to me. The other thing is maybe he's trying to say, okay, we're not going to do anything about it now. It's done. It's over with. Ignore it. Right? So that way the people that are on the list are going to start feeling safe and all warm and squishy inside. And then we're going to get them when they're least expecting it. That's another possibility. Like I said, I like to think of different possibilities. The last possibility is just oh my gosh, I forgot what the last possibility is. Oh well, forget it. But I don't know. I'm very upset and I'm not happy with what I've been seeing lately. Terry says Trump has been acting un-Trump-like this week. I question the timing. I agree. But once again, folks, I'm going to tell you this. It's okay to not agree with everything 100% President Trump does. You can still be a Trump supporter, but nobody thinks I like 100%. And I see all these people like cat turds fighting with the Hodge twins, fighting with the retard finder, all these different people. Because they're saying, well, you're not a Trump supporter anymore. You don't agree with 100% President Trump does. You should never agree with 100% of what President Trump does. If you do that, you're a freaking follower. I'm not a follower. I don't like the one big beautiful bill. I think we should have just one item per bill. In this bill, we're giving away, incentives for people to have more kids and they get more welfare money. I don't like that. Okay? I don't like the fact that we're raising our debt spending limit. Yes, President Trump has brought in a lot of trillions of dollars in by bringing in businesses that were outside the country before. But I don't think we should, I'm a Dave Ramsey fan. I love Dave Ramsey. If you don't know who it is, he's the guy that teaches you about money. And he says the best credit score is a 0. You don't need credit. You're losing money by buying stuff on credit. And I think we should, once we get our debt down to 0, heck yeah, let's raise it up a couple $1 trillion because we have room to work with now. And a lot of people are mad at me. They're like, you're not a Trump supporter. Yes, I am if you don't know, I was the last man on the Capitol January 6th. I had my house raided by the FBI, and they took $20,000 worth of computers and cameras from me, which I still have yet to get back. And I'm paying a lawyer who just texted me today, oh yeah, don't worry, Eddie, I'm still working trying to get your stuff back from the FBI. Then I had to go testify in Washington, D.C. to support President Trump and the Proud Boys. And that cost me $7,000 round trip between hotels and taking a friend there with me to make sure I needed to get bailed out and my service dog and all that stuff. I spent thousands of dollars on lawyers, and I still support President Trump. I just don't like everything he does, which nobody should. Sorry, another rant.
And one that goes down. The exact same thing, but Jeffrey Epstein was on top. So
right,
far, so
dog.
good, right? We move on. And this is the view from the officer's desk, the officer's station. Here's where they sat down and maybe take it easy. You can rest. There's a mini fan in there and maybe a telephone. All right. And from that, I'm going to go here. This is the officer's desk. You see that, oh, what a coincidence that they had Epstein's cell right in front of them. I mean, I think that was the only cell that they had right in front of them sitting here. This is the officer station. You just had to.
I really like this guy.
It's like raise your gaze, and you had right there, jail cell 2020, Jeffrey Epstein's cell.
It needs 220.
Again, we move on, and this is the other angle. This could be from clearly the gate that had access, that granted access to the cell block. I really want you to understand where are we sitting here, because when you see this video, when the first moment I saw this video, I had already started all this many months ago when I began studying the Jeffrey Epstein case. So when I saw the footage released from the DOJ, I was lost. I mean, what is this? This doesn't look like a cell block. This doesn't look like the real thing. Where are we? And what is this 46 in here? I don't get it. So there's one way, very easy way to understand, and I mark it for you. You remember the location of Epstein's cell. You remember the location of the officer station. Well, the angle of the camera that we're about to analyze comes from the exact opposite corner of the shoe. There's the officer station. The opposite corner is right here. And here's the camera of the video that we're going to analyze. So much, that's how important it is to understand where are we standing. That is very important. And that's how you see these tiny things. Maybe you don't know how to read maps, but these tiny things that looks like shark fins are doors that open and the way that they open. And this one that I'm marking here is going to be easier if you look at this. See this way, okay, is the door marked 46. And that is the only way of getting in and out the shoe floor. That is going to be really important from now on. So try to remember that. Door 46 is the only way of going in and out. So we are there. There's the camera. So when we take a look at it again, and here, all right, we see the angle. What is the angle? This angle I have marked in yellow. You see that there's like two 45-degree angles or something like that. And door 46 is in the middle. And now you see the footage. Oh, now we understand where are we.
30 fucking years! 30 fucking years!
What the heck is this?
Fuck you, man!
What a commercial.
There's door 46. There's the angle. And what is right here at the far end? Right. If you guys see, well, congratulations. This is the officer's station. If you can make that out. That is important. Again, I thought that it was really, really critical to understand the angle so we can understand everything that happens from now on. And before we move forward, let me see. All right. It's important to understand. This is critical that, okay, can we actually see Epstein's cell block from here? And if you see the officer station, okay, this looks like a mess of desks and computers. That is the officer station. I think there's a person standing here in this screenshot. You see that there is some kind of teeth. You see this teeth? Like some vertical teeth in here. Those are the staircases to go up to L tier cell block, Epstein's cell block. And you can see for yourself that from our angle, from the 11-hour footage of this camera angle,
right on,
you can see only a sliver of those stairs. So you can, if you can, maybe you can lean to the other side. You can go up and down.
All right, so real quick, guys, remember when I said to look at, remember the railing for the stairs? See how you don't see the black railing here? What's that? We're at 12 minutes and 30 seconds. Okay, so I'm going to go back real quick, and I want to show you this again. Okay, so look at this. So you can't see the black railing in that picture. So look at all the room. If somebody wanted to walk up and down here, they could walk up and down this steps right here, and you would never, ever see them. Okay, just remember this for what's coming up, okay? And we'll talk about it again. I watched the video already in full, and I know spaces to kind of other ones where he maybe forgot to remind you guys. So
out being seen by this camera. Again, that is going to be important later on. If it's too hard to spot, I'm sorry about the zoom in and zoom out. That is the access to Epstein's cell block. That is what's going on in the footage that we are going to analyze. Is that crazy? And just in case, for the record, this is also from the document of the FBI. Jeffrey Epstein's cell is 220, and just in case, this is going to be important for some of you. Oh, all this says that these photographs have been modified for privacy reasons. The only way that the photograph that you have seen, for example, the photographs of the staircases, they say that they have modified them in the document of the FBI. It's only to blur ways to identify officers or turns or anything. But this is
the FBI has modified these videos, but we only thing we did was blur out the faces of people. That's the only thing we've done. Okay, that's what they said. Now keep an eye out and watch, because I notice they're not blurring out everybody's faces.
This is the real deal. So that is important. Keep that in mind. So we move to the actual analysis, and I guess the best way to start the analysis is to see the last time Jeffrey Epstein was seen alive.
And I don't think this was him.
There, right? And we know that this is the last time that Jeffrey Epstein was seen alive, because the timer marks 7:49 p.m. And according to the document, the full investigation of the FBI, that was the time that Jeffrey Epstein was seen alive.
Okay, and real quick, I just want to let you guys know this. So, if you don't know, for those of you that don't know, I have a degree in multimedia communications and journalism from Fresno State. I started out, I was going to be a filmmaker. I've won awards for the films that I've made, okay? And I can go in my Premiere program, which is the program I use, right? He's showing you. I can go in the Premiere program. What I can do is I can block this out, this area right here, and I can put over it a new timer. And then there's AI, and I just tell the AI, hey, AI, do me a favor. I want you to make this look like nothing's been taken out, and I want you to make the new timer up there. And look how blurry it is back here. So it's going to make it even as blurry as this video is here, it's going to make it even easier for me to do that. So let's just be real here about this. I can change this time, no problem. And if you want me to demonstrate that in another video, let me know, because I can actually show you how to do that, because you can do that, okay? Let's see. Yeah, he's not much talking about people's, like my bud David Dayton.
Full investigation of the FBI. That was the time that Jeffrey Epstein was seen alive one last time. And I'm going to just play this. Maybe we can play this in real time. You see two officers walking this inmate in orange. You see the only way that we can semi-confirm that this is Epstein is that, well, his hair was white. We know that his hair has always been white in all the pictures.
So here's the problem.
We know that the guy was alive, or at least
hold on.
That's what we think. That was Jeffrey Epstein.
Why isn't it pausing? Here's the problem I have with that. He's saying his hair was white, right? Let's play this video again a little bit. Play. Here's what
pictures.
Hey, I don't know if that's white hair or if that's a bald spot. That could be a bald spot, or that could be white hair. So let's go a little bit back and let's play it again and let you guys look, and you guys tell me what you think. Is that a bald spot or is that white hair?
Last time, and I'm going to just play this. Maybe we can play this in real time. You see two officers walking this inmate in orange.
What do you think? Is that blonde? Is that white hair, or is that a bald spot? Because to me, it looks like it's kind of curved. You know, like the horseshoe on top. You have a bald spot like that. That's what I think. And one other thing, folks. I used to have a major gambling problem. I would go into casinos. I used to watch tons and tons of videos about, gambling and stuff. And one of the things that casinos have is they have a program that can follow somebody's gait. And you can't tell me the FBI doesn't have this program. It has to be real. They can view a gait of how somebody's walking and know exactly who that person is. So just saying.
You see,
what's
the
up,
only
Grom?
way that we can
Gross is bold.
Semi-confirmed that this is Epstein, is that, well, his hair was white. We know that his hair has always been white in all the pictures. We know that the guy was alive.
It looks bald to me.
At least that's what we think. That was Jeffrey Epstein being led to his cell at 7:49 p.m. that night. The only other thing relevant that happened before that was this lady entering through gate 46. Remember that this is the only gate, the only way to go in and out of the SHU is through gate 46. And we're seeing right now an officer using the phone. You see a phone on the wall. That's the way that you communicate with the officers outside that can open this door. This door can only be opened from the outside. All right, she leaves like a trash bin right there. She waits until the door is open in a minute. It's going to be really quickly. Let's speed things up. Just for the record, remember, this is 7:46. You can always see the timer in the lower left corner. This is before Jeffrey Epstein was seen alive the last time. The door is open from the outside, and this...
And real quick, once again, didn't they... So he said earlier, the FBI, the only changes they made to these videos was to blur out people's faces. You'll see... Look at her. It doesn't look like it's been blurred to me. It's just like a bad video, okay?
Female officer goes out with a trash bin.
That's not blurred. That's not blurred at all.
Gate 46. So which other event do we have? Where does the wacky stuff begin? We have then 7:56. I'm gonna play this way, maybe in twice the speed. I'm gonna play this as twice the speed because these details are not as important for now. But you see that there are actually people going in and out. And Kash Patel said that there's no way anybody could go in and out, and at least so far so good. It's an officer, right? Should be no big deal, right? And we also have other moments. This moment is going to be important because one inmate at 8:16 p.m. I think that he was collaborating with the cleanup, and he dropped these 2 trash bags, not in the trash bin, but to the...
So he's talking about how he didn't put it in the trash bin. So see the orange in there? That, when you... if do any of you have laundry bags and they're just they're just like a fishnet type stuff? I don't think this is laundry. I think this is clothing. I really do. I think that's just clothes.
Side.
Laundry.
This is going to be important because someone is going to pick those bags later on, and that someone who's going to pick those bags is important. We move on. We continue. Now we are at 9:07 p.m. and one officer, what is he doing? Oh, he is given some kind of secret paper or, I don't know, schedule or some...
Yeah, so this is weird. Look at this. So they're sliding the paper underneath there. I understand in order to get this door open, you got to sit there and get on the phone and say, hey, dude, open the door for me so I can get in. Right? But also, this is a jailhouse trick. I watch a lot of documentaries on prison and stuff, and in prison, that's what they do. They send kites this way, notes. You can slide stuff under doors. So this actually, I can see where it might happen, but it just doesn't make sense to me. And you tell me if it makes sense to you that they're sliding this paperwork under the door. Some
kind of folder right below the door. They don't open the door. They just slide maybe an envelope. Maybe it's some kind of random paper. Maybe some kind of document that he needs for the shift.
That's a good point, Gra.
He goes to the door. He doesn't touch the phone because he's not going to request you open the door. Gets the folder and, okay, no big deal. Now, what happens now at 9:11? Guy that looks like a maintenance. He doesn't look like an officer. Grabs the phone, asks for permission to get out.
And honestly, I don't even think they're asking for permission to go through there. They lift it up, and if you notice, a lot of the people will look into this door right here. What time are we at? I wonder what's in that door right there. So we're at 1801. Okay, let's go back and let's go all the way back until he shows the layout again. I'm just curious. Oh, it doesn't tell you what's there. So look, it shows you that there's a door here, and it's a room. Okay, so you know what I think this room might be? Because a lot of times they look in this window when they open up the door. I think this may be where the person in charge of opening all the different doors are. That's what I believe. I could be wrong, but it's a possibility, It's a possibility. But they're not actually calling on the phone. They just pick it up and they hang it down. So I think what it does, it sends a message to either the person in this room or wherever they are, and then they look at the camera and say, "Oh, okay, there's a guard there." Or this person is probably a maintenance person.
Who requests to go out, right? You have to see if you're going to open the door from outside, who is requesting for this to open. So maybe they are looking through this camera that we are looking at right now. It makes sense, right? You have a clear view of whoever is asking for permission to get out. So he has the ability to get out. We can play this at twice the speed, no big deal. And then the same guy enters again at what time? He goes out at 9:12, and he goes in again at 9:15.
About 3 minutes.
No big deal. We still have some.
And now once again, here's two things. So number one, they said that for some reason that one camera, which we'll show you again, is not working. There's no camera working. But here comes a maintenance guy. There's a maintenance guy on the floor. You're telling me that the maintenance guy couldn't fix that camera real quick, right? It's just weird. Now here's the other thing. Once again, the FBI said, "Oh, the only thing we edited on this video was blurring out people's faces. Her face is not blurred. It's just chunky quality." But I bet you, if this lady walked past, if you put this lady in a lineup with 4 other people, I could pick this lady out, right? Let's be real here.
Stuff. We see
the fishbowl
thing. Another, I don't know if it's another female officer or if it's the same female officer that we saw a while ago asking for permission to get out.
And now here's another thing. Leave. Look at this. This woman has a hoodie tied around her bottom area. I've been in county jail plenty of times. Santa Barbara County Jail, Los Angeles County Jail, Santa Maria County, it's still Santa Barbara County. And officers could only wear their uniform. Like I said before, I went to Chowchilla prison because my buddy wanted me to come apply for a plumber there. And I showed up in blue jeans and I got in trouble because only inmates can wear blue jeans. They have a strict policy of what visitors and officers can wear. Okay, I do not think that any prison, county jail, or city jail would let an officer wear a hoodie around their butt. Why would she need to wear a hoodie around her butt? This is something that is very confusing to me right here, and I wonder what's going on here. Is she sneaking stuff in or out? What's going on? I mean, maybe she had an accident. I have disabilities. I understand it. Maybe she had an accident that day and was having to cover up a wet spot or something. I don't know.
They open the door in a minute. This is at twice the speed. And she
goes 9:23:40,
and then she enters again.
Comes back at
9:32. No big deal.
Minutes.
Maybe it was just a bathroom break. I guess that they did not. The officers don't have bathrooms in there inside that part. Now, this is the thing. This is one. I think this is the greatest red flag of all this video, of the 11 hours of this video. This is hands down one of the most concerning red flags. This video is not continuous. This video was asking for permission to get out. So he has the ability to get out. We can play this at twice the speed, no big deal. And then the same guy enters again at what time? He goes out at 9:12, and he goes in again at 9:15. No big deal. We still have We still have some strange stuff.
And here comes that same woman again. Same officer.
I don't know if it's another female officer or if it's the same female officer that we saw a while ago asking for permission to get out or to leave. They open the door in a minute. This is at twice the speed. And she goes away. And then she enters again at 9:32.
Still wearing a hoodie around her butt.
It was just a bathroom break. I guess that they did not, the officers don't have bathrooms in there, inside that bar. Now, this is the thing. This is one. I think this is the greatest red flag of all this video. Of
Repeat
the
video,
11 hours of this video. This is hands down one of the most concerning red flags. This video is not continuous. This video was spliced, was cut. And how do we know? Because there's 1 full minute missing from the footage that we were promised that will be a continuous footage, continuous video without interruption, without editing.
We're on Rumble too, by the way.
Keep an eye here on the timer. It says 11:58, 50 p.m., right? And we go 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, and we guess that we're going to see 11:59, right? That minute, so close to midnight. 5 seconds to go. 6, 7, 8, 9. Hey, what happened? What happened in there? We're here. I'm going to do that again.